Kano affirmed Muhammad Abacha, the son of the former head of state, as the duly elected governorship candidate of the PDP for Kano State. In a ruling issued last night, Justice Lehman, the presiding judge, declared the Kano PDP governorship primary that produced Sadiq Walid invalid. Additionally, the judgment ordered that Abacha's name be declared by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. The verdict, which was essentially given, was originally set for Thursday afternoon, but was moved to 4 p.m. All of the plaintiffs' requests indicates were granted by the court. Abacha is a plaintiff in the matter, and Wali, INEC, and the PDP are the defendants. Abacha had asked that the court declare him the winner of the primary lawfully conducted by the PDP and certified by INEC in Kano. He said that based on the Electoral Act 2022, he had called the act.
It's yet another history is yet made that the judiciary is the last hope of the common man. Today, this evening, the Federal High Court here in Kano has confirmed that the gubernatorial primary election conducted under my leadership, which was officially monitored by the Independent National Electoral Commission, which produced Mohamed Sani Abacha as the gubernatorial candidate in the 2023 general election, which the national leadership has gone against. They did whatever they could to infiltrate the course of justice, and today the judiciary has held their hands to make sure that justice is prepared.
Speak with Mr. Yusuf Bello, who joins us from our Kano studio on this matter. Thank you so much, Mr. Bello, for joining us tonight. How does the judgment come to you, and perhaps, well, I'll be asking, what do you think is the way out? Because I know there is yet another court case on a similar matter, bordering on who should be on the ballot for the PDP in Kano State. And as we know, Kano State for PDP, APC, Labour Party, and NPP is very crucial, and everyone wants to have a good bite of it. But what is the way forward, and how do you guys receive on your own side the judgment of yesterday?
Thank you very much, Sherwin, for this opportunity to speak about the incidents of yesterday. The last time I was speaking with you was last year during the Emir Sinosis saga, where our culture was truncated by the Kano State government, and today I'm speaking to you again on a very important issue about our party, about our state, and of course about democracy in Nigeria. Mr. Sherwin, there was a very brief history about all what's happened yesterday. I believe you recall the defection of former governor of Kano State in early this year to the new formed NNPP, where he left some of the state executives of PDP to stay within the PDP and probably did something that is against the democracy. But it's not to our surprise, so the National Party took them. You know, the National Party dissolved that ESCO in March 2022, a situation that didn't go down well with the state ESCO, and they approached the Federal High Court, where Federal High Court granted them orders. And party at that time, PDP, complied. Not only complying, we make sure that we accorded and recognized the Sagagis-led ESCO up to the time when we got judgment from the Federal High Court, cancelling or rather setting aside the judgment of retired Justice Taiwo in just a couple of months back. So our party has now constituted a new caretaker committee under the leadership of Alhaji Adamu Mustafa from Yobe. So the primary saga, you see, two things happened. One, you have to identify who is responsible to conduct primaries. Is it state chapter of the party or the National Executive Committee of a party? So based on our provision of our constitution, PDP, the National Executive Committee appointed National Working Committee, and also National Working Committee will now set a committee, electoral committee, that will go around states, not only Kano, to conduct primaries for the State House of Assembly, National Assembly, collectively reps and Senate, governorship, and of course the presidential primaries. So in May, about 9, to be precise, 9 aspirants purchased nomination forms, and we participated in primaries. 2 out of 9 decided to conduct parallel congresses under the leadership of state chairman, while 7 decided to honor and respected the national leadership of the party and conducted their own primaries at Sani Abacha Youth Center that produces Muhammad Sadiq Wali as the authentic winner. And just to buttress my point, none of the PDP electoral committees members that attended the so-called parallel congress conducted by the state chapter. So if you look at our PDP constitution, if you look at our 2022 guidelines to primary election for candidates in PDP, and all other relevant laid-down laws, there is nowhere, anywhere within the content of our constitutions that give power or mandate for the state chapter to conduct primaries, talk less of producing the gubernatorial candidate. It is sole responsibility of the National Working Committee. And by extension, the state chairman is not even a member of NWC of our party. So we have instances in Nigeria where Supreme Court overturned the judgment. We have instances where the Court of Appeal also cancelled the mistakes of trial courts. And even in Kano yesterday, the trial judge, you know, I'm not a lawyer, but he erred in making a precise judgment. Because just last 2 weeks, we had a judgment at the Court of Appeal in Kano where one of the aspirants that conducted that parallel congress alongside Muhammad Abacha, Jafar Sani Bello, to approach the Federal High Court, insisted on joining Muhammad Sadiq Wali to be part of the case. And if you look at the case of Eze versus PDP 2008, if you did not participate in election, there is no reason whatsoever for anybody to join you as in his suits. So the Court of Appeal in its ruling said,
all right, let me jump in quickly. Let me jump in whatsoever quickly, because we are hoping at some point that we will get the other side in this matter so that we can have a better understanding and a more robust conversation on this matter. Now, one big question is this, and my question are going to be, 2 questions I'm going to ask you, and are going to be very fast and quick. One is this: did INEC monitor your own primary?
Their role, the electoral law is very clear. 2022 is very clear. INEC shall monitor all elections. So what happened? PDP sent a notification to INEC, and INEC accepted our notification. The chairman of the electoral committee also wrote a letter to INEC informing INEC that he is in Kano, he is going to conduct the election at Sani Abacha Center or so time, and INEC collected and acknowledged. And they decided to monitor election of the state chapter. And even within their reports, the report they sent to INEC and sent to PDP, they said we had 2 notification letters from the 2 groups. One from the state chapter, one from the national. And we decided to monitor the one for the state chapter. So you can look at it, the law is very clear. The law is not saying PDP must ensure that INEC to monitor the election. The law is very clear that INEC shall monitor all elections, regardless of whatever happens. There was 2 parallel elections. So the staff of INEC are not only one person.
Did INEC monitor your own? Because you have established that there were two parallel primaries. Did INEC monitor your own, the one where Mr. Wali emerged winner?
I was an aspirant at that time. I was contesting for the governor. I participated in the primary election at that time on the 25th of May. So I cannot be precise whether INEC are there or not, because I saw all the officials of police, DSS, civil defense, and all other relevant institutions.
Can you tell us also, so now you said it, but you're not aware. You're not aware if INEC did or not. But can you tell us who was the chairman of the committee, election committee, that the national body of the party sent to conduct the primary exercise in Kano?
His name is Chief Bumi Adu, and other members of the committee.
Okay.
We have Chief Bumi Adu as the chairman. We have Yusuf Dingyadi as the secretary of that committee, and we have other 5 members. And none of them participated in the so-called election conducted at Lugat House, the house of the former governor of Kano State. None of them participated. Okay. And even in the
let me quickly also ask you this. Yeah, quick one. Now, this judgment of yesterday, how are you responding to it? By way of an appeal, or what exactly are you doing?
What we are doing at the moment, we had already approached the Court of Appeal. We have already filed, because he delivered the judgment via Zoom. So we listened all the grounds. He only said the only grounds he's relying on was PDP failed to give notice of 21 days. So if that is the case, so which party did Mohamed Abacha is contesting? Is he contesting under ABGA or what? So, but be as it may, what we did today, this morning, we already filed our appeal, where we had over 20 reasons why that judgment must be turned by the Court of Appeal by God's grace.
All right, give me a moment. Let me speak with Mr. Mohammed Jamo, who has since joined us here in our Abuja studio. Thanks so much indeed for coming tonight.
Thank you, Shaun.
Yeah, appreciate it. So there was a court judgment yesterday affirming that Mr. Mohamed Sani Abacha is a candidate of the PDP in Kano State. But that is not going down well with the camp of Mr. Wali. That is the deputy governorship candidate that has been speaking with us from Kano. He said he doesn't understand the grounds upon which that court has given that judgment, and they have also punctured a few areas of the judgment, and they are appealing the case. How does this come to your side?
Well, yesterday is one of those days, Mr. Shaun, where you will feel proud that you are a Democrat and you are under a democratic set of government where the rule of law governs the activities of political parties. You see, all these things started with the impunity that was put in place by the leadership of the People's Democratic Party, whereby a duly constituted committee of the party in Kano, from the state to the local government to the ward level, are fully in place. And then you want to run a Congress or a primary election. What you are supposed to do is to work together with that existing party committee that is in place. But unfortunately, some people from Abuja decided to, instead of go through the normal channel, they decided to go through the back channel. And even when they were going through the back channel, I am one of the political leaders in the People's Democratic Party in Kano. My friend and brother Yusuf, who happens to be running under the platform of the PDP too, he wanted to run for the office of the governor. When they were running for all these positions, I have advised them that instead of you people going and working with what they are planning and hatchet job over there in Abuja, let's all work together. When we work together, we will find a mantle ground whereby whoever is duly qualified can be elected.
Let me ask you a few questions.
Yes.
Sir. So our viewers can understand. Mr. Yusuf gave some premise upon which this crisis happened.
Yeah.
Now you also have given a premise. So you said, look, it came from the crisis of leadership in the party.
Yeah.
Now going into that primary, so there was a confusion as to the authentic leadership of the PDP in Kano State, who is right to have conducted it. But it is right in law that it is only the national body of the party that conducts the primary of a governorship primary. I mean, the governorship primary in a state.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a few questions. The primary in which Mr. Muhammad Abacha emerged as winner, did INEC monitor that primary?
INEC monitored that primary, and apart from INEC monitoring that primary, let me tell you, the national body of the party are supposed to conduct the primary elections, like you rightly said. But the national body of the party can only conduct these primaries through by liaison with the local chapter at the state level. So the national body of the party wrote a letter to Mr. Sagagi, who is the state chairman of the party, recognizing him as the state chairman of the party and notifying him that 5-member electoral committee are coming over to Kano to conduct election, the primary election for the gubernatorial on a so-so date. And these people came over to Kano and showed their presence just for them later on to abscond and leave to go to another place that we don't even know.
So those committee did not attend the primary in which Mr. Abacha emerged winner?
INEC attended, which is the most important.
The committee that was sent from the national body did not attend that of
They
yours.
came and absconded.
Okay, so I mean, we've established those points.
Yeah.
Now, as it stands right now, they said, look, the point of law in which the judgment came out yesterday was faulted.
Yeah.
So what are you guys doing? How do you receive that?
Well, the judge, my lord, the Justice A.M. Liman, is a very learned justice who has served several cases in this country, and we are of no right to fault his judgment, because he has given his own grounds. And part of the grounds which he has given is that there is a constitutional provision that says all activities of the political party, be it their congress, be it their primaries, their finances, or whatsoever, must be supervised by the Independent National Electoral Committee. What we did in Kano was monitored by the Independent National Electoral Committee, and they have given their report to that. And even the Electoral Act has corroborated what the Constitution says. But the carrot that took place in the other place, there was no INEC there.
But there's a major problem now that before you can conduct a primary, you need to have resolved the leadership crisis in the party, first and foremost.
There was no leadership crisis in the party. Mr. Sagagi is the duly elected chairman of the party. And even the National wrote a letter in the name of Mr. Sagagi informing him that the primaries will be held.
Do you think that anything untoward happened for the abscondment which you have alleged?
Well, I will tell you, Mr. Ioche Ayu is the best person who can be able to answer how all these things happened. Because if he has not interfered in the internal happenings of the party in Kano, we wouldn't have been in this logjam that we are facing today. We are all one family of the People's Democratic Party until aliens came in from other part of the country to interfere.
Who are the aliens?
From Sokoto, from Jigawa, and from Benue State. I don't have to mention names.
Could this also be linked to the presidential primaries of your party?
Well, it is all intertwined. Just like the deputy governorship candidate under the other botched primary was mentioning. This all started from the time Mr. Rabiu Musa Konkosa left this party.
So he left the party in ruins.
And when he left the party, some people felt, okay, since he has gone, let us just go over and take over the party.
But the presence of Senator Shekarau, what does that bring some kind of sanity?
Yeah, Mr. Shekarau is somebody who we respect very well, and being him a serving senator now automatically makes him the leader of the People's Democratic Party in Kano. We are looking up to him too.
Let me give Mr. Yusuf some opportunity to respond to some of the things he said. You heard what Mr. Jamu has said, and upon this premise, there are fundamental issues, isn't it? What's your response?
I think, Mr. Shewin, what my brother Jamo said is just a very laughable matter, because when somebody knew the truth and he went contrary to the truth, it's quite unfortunate. You see, the electoral panel, by all standards, did not attend anywhere close to Lugard. On that very day, Mr. Bumi summoned all aspirants to attend a meeting at Al-Mukab. It's a hotel at Yusuf Road. I was there. 8 out of 9 aspirants was there, including Mohammed Sani Abacha. And he informed us all the nitty-gritty of the primaries. And thereafter, 2 gentlemen among the aspirants make some inquiries, which they answered, and then he directed all aspirants to head to the venue of the primary election, which is Sani Abacha Youth Center. This thing is very clear. So we went there, we were there, we conducted all the election until the following morning, where Mohammed Sadiq Wali was duly elected. But unfortunately, my brother Jamo was the electoral officer of the so-called primary election conducted by Sheikh Wada Sagagi. I don't know when did National Working Committee appointed Mr. Jamo as the electoral officer. As Mohammed somebody Konkoso as the electoral at the returning officer or something.
That is what the people of Kano, especially your supporters in the PDP, I will be looking for. I'll allow Mr. Jamo to respond to that. And perhaps as your closing thought on this matter, what do you think is the way forward?
The way forward is for Mr. Sadiq Wali, Yusuf Bello Dambata, and any other aggrieved member of the party to come forward. Let's join hands. We are extending an olive branch to all of them. Now that Mohammed Sani Abacha has been declared duly as the elected...
But they are appealing the case.
They don't even need to appeal.
Your party is in the back foot now.
How can they even
compared
appeal?
To other political parties that have
how can
campaign?
they even appeal a judgment of a primary they call that has violated the constitutional provision that said INEC must monitor whatever it has been done, whatever the party does?
So what is the way forward?
Let them come. Let's work together. Let's form a government. We'll find a place to accommodate them.
Mr. Yusuf Dambata, is that the way to go? Would you be willing to harness resources and align forces in this sense?
You see, Mr. Shewin, there are procedures and stages. Even if the elected governor will be declared winner, an agreement will go to court and they will not change the governor from being a governor. So this is just a trial court. We have appeal court, we have Supreme Court. So we have so many instances and cases similar to this. I mentioned the case of AZ versus PDP in 2008. We have Ogun, you just mentioned Ogun now before we started this conversation. We have Delta State. We have Zamfara State. We have so many states where there was this kind of conflict. And state chapter took it upon themselves to go and conduct a parallel election.
All right, gentlemen.
So what Mr. Jamo is saying is just something, a trash. Where because they are just
Yusuf Bello
Dambata, thank you so much
for your time. We'll be looking forward to what happens, Mr. Mohammed Jamo. Thank you.